Lice is a word that makes you want to wince immediately. But here's the reality. Lice in nature are not a mistake. It's pressure. This is an evolutionary trainer, and sometimes a live sensor of the state of the population. Remove the lice and you will be surprised how much the behavior of animals changes, and even the way they look. I'll spread it out now. 10 functions and one effect that is most often overlooked. Lice are parasites that almost always live on their host all the time. They don't jump or fly. They hold on with their claws, and they breed in the same place. And their life cycle is simple: egg, net, to nymph to adult. That is, it is not a stray bite. This is a long-term pressure, and that's why the ecosystem feels it. 10 functions of lice in nature. 1. Parasitic pressure on host lice take away resources, blood from suckers, or the material of integuments from chewing, plus itching, irritation, stress. This reduces comfort and sometimes survival. 2. Launching and maintaining hygienic behavior. Lice are one of the main engines of cleaning behavior. In birds, preening, cleaning of feathers. In mammals, grooming. Animals spend time cleaning because otherwise the parasites grow, and it changes the daily routine, rest, and risks, sometimes even social contacts. 3. Selection based on the quality of the host. It's easier for parasites to stick to those who clean less, get worse in shape, get sick, or live under stress. As a result, lice enhance natural selection. The weak get more stress. The strong are more likely to dump the parasites. 4. Regulation of social contacts in populations. When there are many parasites, close contact becomes more expensive. Groups can change the frequency of close interactions. Birds have fewer cramped seats. Mammals have more grooming, sometimes less density. This is not always noticeable to a person, but for the population, this is a real factor. 5. Support for biodiversity on the body. It sounds strange, but it's a fact. Each host species is a continent, and lice are part of its biota. Many lice have a high host specificity. One host has its own species. That is, lice are part of the overall picture of biodiversity. 6. Integration into food chains. They are eaten. They really eat lice. Who? First of all, the owner himself when cleaning. Secondly, many animals have cleaning allies, for example, cleaning birds and large animals. As a result, lice are a small but constant source of protein in the microcosm of behavior. 7. Influence on appearance and signals, especially in birds. The quality of the tail is both thermal insulation, aerodynamics, and a picture for choosing a partner. Parasitic pressure forces you to invest in care, and it can change how the feathers look and how alive they are. 8. Participation in the restructuring of the skin and integuments. Chronic irritation leads to the animal itches more often, injures the skin, breaks the cover. This increases the risk of secondary problems, infections, damage. That is, lice sometimes trigger a chain of consequences that go beyond just itching. 9. Vectors, carriers of pathogens. In some cases, the most important and reliable example is that a linen louse can transmit a number of severe infections to humans, including epidemic typhus and lice-borne recurrent typhus. It is important to clarify, head lice are usually not considered carriers of diseases. This is emphasized separately in official materials. 10. Biological record. Reflect the history of the hosts. Since lice are often very attached to their hosts, their evolution can go hand in hand with that of the host. There are works showing the long-term coexistence and coevolution of lice and primates, and the coincidence of the divergence of lice lines with the divergence of host lines. This is not a joke. Sometimes you can understand from lice what is difficult to see directly from the owners. One unexpected effect that is often overlooked. People think lice are important only because they are harmful, and the effect is deeper. Lice are one of the main behavioral engineers in animals. They force you to waste time on care. They change social contexts. They affect the appearance of birds, especially through the quality of their feathers. And this pressure can change in total who survives, who reproduces, and who looks more attractive. The parasite is small, and the rule he imposes is a big one. 10 unusual facts about lice. 1. Lice are not just one type. There are sucking and chewing lice, and they really differ in nutrition. 2. They are almost always very attached to the owner. Many species have high host specificity. 3. They don't jump or fly, they crawl and hold on with their claws. 4. The life cycle is simple, egg to nymph to adult, and all this happens next to the owner. 5. Nits are glued. The eggs are fixed to the hair/feather very firmly, like cement. 6. Head lice and body lice are close, but the lifestyle is different. Body lice are associated with clothing and conditions where it is difficult to keep clean, and it is she who is dangerous as a carrier of severe infections. 7. Lousy typhus is not a textbook myth. Epidemic typhus is transmitted through infected body lice. This is the official position of the CDC. 8. Lice can be witnesses of evolution. There is evidence of the co-evolution of primate lice for tens of millions of years, and the coincidence of the times of divergence of host and parasite lineages. 9. In birds, lice are often associated with feathers. Chewing lice often feed on feather/skin particles rather than blood. 10. It is impossible and unnecessary to completely remove lice in nature. Because parasites are part of the network, pressure, behavior, selection, biodiversity, nature is not sterile, she's a worker. Conclusion: lice are unpleasant, yes, but in nature they play the role of parasitic pressure, an engine of hygiene and behavior, a selection factor, part of biodiversity, and, in some cases, a vector of dangerous diseases in humans. They're small, but their influence is systemic. If it was useful, subscribe. Here we analyze living creatures in such a way that it becomes clear who really keeps nature in working order, even if you don't like him, and write in the comments. What surprised me the most? That lice can be chewing and sucking, or that lice can be used to study the history of their owners.